What's up, guys? It's your boy Black Roo back in the house for another Steam Exchange video. Before I get started, cue Indigo Saint. Let's get it. Indigo Saint in the building. Black Roo investing. Let's go.
Who's this producer?
Best believe it was black or invested. With your money, you ain't gotta be guessing. Profits is what we manifesting. So we binge on a black or invested. Best believe it was black or invested. Got course in this race, we ain't resting. We got stocks, we got crypto with a blessing. So thank God for that black or invested. Best believe it was black or invested.
Hey guys, what's going on? Time for another Steam Exchange video. Without ado, let's get straight into it here. So really quick one here from the guys. They just want to get a year-end update on the status of every piece of the platform. So we're going to go over the Steam Exchange AMA, and then after this, we're going to just give a little reminder of what we're investing in since this is quick. So please stick with me through the whole video because it's very important that we get a reminder of exactly what we're investing in here. From my opinion, okay. So let's get into the AMA. We're gonna start here when we're hearing from Neville on the completion of the DEX. So just so you know, we can just look at these numbers, but let's just review the numbers right quick before we go on. The DEX is 75% totally complete. Rails network is 90% totally complete. The SEX is the centralized network, 60% complete. Launchpad, 65% complete. Explorer, 55% complete. Now, throughout the whole AMA, you're going to hear certain, like how they prioritize certain things, why priorities were set on certain things. Excuse me, like one thing you may notice is the NFT gateway is not on here. So they're shooting for getting everything on this list completed by the end of the year. But the NFT gateway, since the state of NFTs being very low right now in price, and not very high in liquidity at all either. It's not many people out here just buying NFTs right now. They chose to push the NFT gateway to like the beginning of next year. So understand everything you're seeing now is going to be by the end of the year, and the NFT gateway will be sometime first quarter next year completion. Okay, so let's get into this, and Neville's gonna let us know about the DEX first.
Yesterday afternoon as well. The numbers on the screen, just some housekeeping before we get started, they're not respective of the overall development progress. So we talked about this, and a question came up in the chat about how we previously stated we're about 95% through development. That is still the case, but the percentages you're seeing on the screen, they're representative of also the time it would take to develop given the circumstances at hand. So we mentioned our partners in Ukraine. So they're facing their own, of course, concerns and issues, nationally, and we're coping and going along for the ride. So with that, the DEX, previously we were looking at about a 90 to 95% completion rate, and it also aligned with our timelines as to what we expected the completion time should be, being the end of the year. Where we stand currently with the DEX, everything is functional to the degree that the product that 2Next builds is a ledger-based solution. And we mentioned multiple times, we're not chasing a ledger-based solution. We don't want to ever hold user funds or be responsible for user funds or accountable for user funds. So we wanted to go with a liquidity provider solution. So that kind of scaled us back a little bit. So where we are in development with that, we've mapped out our solution a long time ago.
So very cool that they're going to go with a liquidity solution, and they're saying they're not trying to really hold user funds at all. So they're not trying to do that, unlike some exchanges that we know, right? So they're not trying to hold user funds. They're going with a liquidity solution, and that's what they're doing.
So we started building out the back end, and that back end is currently in testing. So the next steps for that is it's going to get pushed into our dev environment where we're going to go in and do our own QA. So 2Next does their QA, we're going to go in and do our QA, quality assurance. And once we're done with that, it'll get pushed to the public beta. So you'll see soon, hopefully, in the coming weeks, something come out as far as a UI. So the UI in comparison to what you see today will change a little bit, and we're hoping for at least the UI to come out so you understand what we're looking at from a liquidity provider solution, aggregator solution, the differences between your typical swap and what our swap is going to look like. So that kind of wraps it up for the DEX side of things.
Okay, so that's what's going to happen with the DEX, the swap on the DEX. It's a liquidity solution, so it's not holding on. It's not a ledger solution where they're holding on the funds. That wraps that part up. And here we're going to go into I think he already went into the UI. We might go into some things from the SEX here, the centralized exchange.
Got it. So on the Rails aspect, and I'll jump in for the Rails network, right? What we're seeing, and to Nova's point again, in its
this is the Rails network. Excuse me.
Totality, right? And that includes the development and readiness. You can see that we're pegging the 90% mark, right? Now, before we get into that, we know what that means for you guys, and you guys have already gotten a taste of with regards to some of the things that are and will be on our blockchain in terms of the various beta components, as well as even seeing the launchpad as well too, right? So with that being said, around the Rails network, from an overall readiness perspective, we are very close. Now, we're taking that as a win, right? Because as you guys know, and as we mentioned before, there are areas within our development roadmap that are more in our control than other ways, right? So where we have things more in our control, that's where we're kind of looking to bring those to the foreground and do what we can do to at least keep the pedal to the metal there and look to release. So on the Rails network, I'm extremely pleased with regards to the amount of work that has gone in to get us to this point and the readiness, right? So, between now and the end of the year, that's where we'll look to continue to bolster and push there to get that across the finish line. And as well too, and we'll touch base a little bit more on the Block Explorer and Launchpad, but that all ties in it, right? Knowing that the Rails network is there established, and then on the back end, by the integration of the Explorer as well too, you'll be able to then see these test transactions on the blockchain, and then that visualization that's in your head, you'll now be able to see it on the screen.
So a little bit into that, in the Explorer, you can't see it down there, but the Explorer is at 65% complete. If you guys are not familiar with the Explorer is basically where you go and you check and see if what transactions have happened, what time they've happened. It's very common to see an Explorer for a blockchain. We won't go look at anyone else's Explorer right now, but it's where you check basically the blockchain transactions. So,
and as I said before, everything will make a lot more sense, right? And we'll keep segueing along accordingly there. So in a nutshell, that's where we are currently for the end of the year report, going into obviously December 1st today, leading up to the end of the year for the Rails network, and we'll definitely hear more news as the coming weeks progress on that one.
Awesome. And just to touch a little bit more before we move on to the centralized exchange, some of our admins took it upon themselves to deploy some smart contracts to our testnet. So they actually got to experience the functionality of the testnet, of the Rails network before NXTOR was even up. I know one of our admins were even able to see transactions posted to the blockchain through his testing. So, a huge progress on the Rails network. I would say it's complete. I'm not going to say 100%, but even 90% is a very modest number for the Rails network. We definitely made huge progress on that in the last couple of months. And I think, like Chris mentioned, we're closer than ever to pushing that out. Just moving on to the centralized exchange, like the DEX, it's going to be operating on a liquidity provider solution. So the development of the centralized exchange is kind of tailing the development of the decentralized exchange. So as the progress of the decentralized exchange increases, so will...
Now understand, centralized exchange is centralized, so it's going to be highly regulated. And I'm sure in Canada, they probably even have to go through more stringent, more hard and tough regulation because of what happened with the whole Quadriga X thing, which was an absolute mess. So they probably have to go through very stringent rules and regulations to get regulated for a centralized exchange, which would be why it would trail behind the decentralized exchange. And that's something very, very important to know, that they're going to get centralized exchange regulation, like especially all the things we just had recently go on. I won't bring them up or anything, but people who have kind of been in the crypto world right now know like about the recent things that are going on. So it's good to understand and know that Steem Exchange is going to have a centralized exchange that's regulated along with a decentralized exchange as well.
the centralized exchange. The look and feel of a centralized exchange is also going to be updated as well. We did release a small snapshot of what it does look like. That's also going to change. So once the aggregators are plugged in and once the liquidity...
So GUI changes are coming. This is something for both the DEX, the SEX, and the Launchpad. Like GUI changes are coming all around.
Providers are available. You'll see a couple of UI changes and differences between what you're typically used to on a centralized exchange and what we're going to be offering. We did shift our focus from the centralized exchange a little bit to focus more on the decentralized exchange so that we can meet our target. We talked about in the chat yesterday that we did try to mitigate for a delay scenario. We looked at all of our options. We moved resources where we can, but it just wasn't enough to push it over the finish line. So that's where we are today. The centralized exchange does come with a lot more than the decentralized exchange when it comes to a regulatory perspective. So for sure, once that's done, it's development and it goes into testing. Once we're satisfied with those tests, it goes into audit. And just like everything else, will also go into audit. The centralized exchange will be the focal point, I would say, of our regulatory journey. Not just our business and our organization, but what the centralized exchange is and how it functions will be primary and forefront in how I guess we get our approval versus other ecosystems and organizations.
Right on. Now the Block Explorer and Neville, thank you for elaborating with regards to some of the testing that has been performed.
Okay, now we're getting into the Explorer. The Explorer is very important because it's important once you got the network and the exchange, you need to verify that transactions have happened. So Explorer is very important. It's at 65% done.
And I think internally amongst our teams, we are fairly confident with regards to the testing that has been performed to date, and having this Block Explorer only helps to bolster that confidence level, not only for us, because we always say this is not just about us, it's about you guys as well too, that have been sticking through with us along this entire journey, but more for you guys to understand that this is a working and functioning product. A lot of man hours have gone into this here, and there's no shortage of time, right? I mean, we're going to continue to press, and our goal, and some of our goals obviously have kind of slipped, understandably, given some of the circumstances, and it's hard because myself and Neville, we continue to go back and forth, just based on some of our corporate world experiences, and we see these delays happen,
and just to speak to that, I'm an engineer in the medical device field. Timelines slip all the time. In this case, I think it's a very great idea. It's very great that the timeline slipped a bit, because now the exchange is going to kind of be up and running. 2023 is going to be just before, in the 2023 land, Q1, right? It gives it enough time to build up into the bull market of 2024 when Bitcoin halves again. So actually, I think it works very much in their favor that it's going to be kind of rolled out in 2023, especially given the fact that they're trying to do an entire blockchain and stuff like that. I think the timing worked pretty well. But I know if you're not a coder, if you're not from really the corporate world where you deal with like coding and stuff like that, you don't understand that like these pushbacks are a freaking commonplace in the world, even with things like military equipment, just anything that involves technology, you're going to have some pushbacks. So,
and it's how you respond to the delays and continue to navigate the waters is a true testament there, right? So, where we can, and again, don't want to sound like a broken record, but where we can, we have more to control. Some areas we have more influence and control, but where we do have control, being one of them, obviously the Rails Network and the Explorer, we're going to continue to push there before the end of the year to at least, hand that over to our community from a testnet perspective, so you guys can get to see and understand, right? So, from an Explorer perspective, you can see not just from a development, but its development and its totality in terms of readiness. We're about 65%, and we're still very confident in getting this one out before the end of the year, and that's what we're going to continue to focus on over the next couple of weeks. Again, so you guys can have that product in your hands, so you can kind of see and continue to play around and see these test transactions happening on the blockchain in real time, and get all the data and stats that you guys need on the Rails network.
Awesome. And that kind of brings us to the Launchpad. So the Launchpad, we were at a much higher percentage as well, but we did hit snags. So we talked about it in the chat, and I'll keep going back to that. We're constantly talking in the chat about our progress. Some of you guys catch it, some of you guys don't. But since we're all here on the AMA, for the Launchpad, we hit a snag with a smart contract where when we're trying to complete transactions or finish a pre-sale, it wouldn't complete. It would just kind of like hang. So we went back and we started to rewrite the smart contract section for finishing pre-sales or finalizing pre-sales. So that kind of brought us back on our timeline for the Launchpad. The same team that's working on the Launchpad is also working on the Explorer. So we decided that the best course of action would be to push the Explorer over the Launchpad, and we'll get into why in the next section of the AMA. But the Launchpad, we did a small demo of a proof of concept of what we thought the Launchpad should feel like and look.
And just so you guys know, the reason why they had the Explorer over the Launchpad is because in order to have a true network and have it really in place, the most important three things you need are the network itself, the exchange, and the Explorer to check transactions. So that's why everything kind of goes behind that, including the Launchpad, including the NFT gateway, which I already said is shifted to Q1 of 2023.
Look like that was just exactly that. It was a proof of concept. So when you see the new Launchpad, it's going to be completely different. It'll look different. It'll feel different. It's still going to accomplish the same goals as our proof of concept. It's still going to have all the information that you're looking for, or that you don't necessarily get from other providers. It's all going to have centralized information, so you don't have to go hunting for data or for the white paper or for information about the project. So the Launchpad is going to still provide that same robust experience. It's just not going to look the way it looks. So a little hint there as to what's coming for the Launchpad, and we hope you're happy with the results of how it turned out.
Perfect. Thanks, Neville. I think just before we segue into our community question and answers, I do think it's important we take a moment or two just to highlight a few of the positives as well, right? So if we just track back to a few months ago, we actually embarked and activated the Rails Network testnet, which is by no means a small feat. As the team mentioned, we did see some community activations from multiple smart contracts. We did receive, and to this day, continue to receive external developer interest from the community as well. These are things that I think are positive and robust signs of what is to come. And standing true and standing tall, if you actually take a look in a fine microscope, are our partnerships, right? Our partnerships with the Ministry of Ontario, the Economic Development Office, that has led and segued us into our existing partnerships with academia in Canada, both of which are with large, credible universities. If we hone in specifically on the University of Waterloo, a globally world-renowned university, we have our research partnership with them multi-year that touches so closely to what I personally believe is the need of the hour in our crypto space, which is education, right? People need a place to learn. People need a place where they can.
So on that, on education and crypto, I don't think there's too many universities that cover crypto and have it as an education. It's all on the job training or stuff that you have to go out there and find and do on your own. But to actually foster education in the crypto space, other than Cardano, Steem Exchange is the only other place that I know is kind of really pushing that and putting money behind that. So shout out to Steem Exchange on that one, right? But let's keep listening.
Can get information in a concise manner, and at the same time, that instills trust and builds brand loyalty for the long run as well, right? I personally, I'm not one to compare, but I think maybe just ask yourself, do this exercise. Go out there, for the projects or the organizations that you're a part of, no matter the size, no matter the scale, and have a look, evaluate if they have partnerships to the caliber that we do. And that should just paint a small picture of what the external perception of Steem Exchange is and the vision that we have, and that these large-scale institutions are willing to ride this journey with us as well, right? So I think it was just important to add those 2 cents of positivity there. But Neville and Chris, if you guys are ready, we can segue into the community question and answers.
Yep, just one more thing before we do things. Thanks, John. So a lot of questions have come up about what migration entails, right? So I mentioned when I was talking about the Launchpad that we'll get into it after this. So what I meant was, about what we put more focus on the Explorer, is that in order for us to have a successful migration, we need to have at least 3 things online and available 100%. So that's the DEX, so you can trade your native coin. Of course, the Rails network, so we can facilitate the migration, and you'll be trading on our own blockchain. And then the Explorer, so you can validate your transactions and see your transactions going through. So that's why we shifted focus from the Launchpad to the Explorer, because we found that the migration is more important to us than launching new projects on Rails network at the moment.
So he got into just what I covered there. You must have those 3 things for the exchange: the Rails network, the exchange, and the Explorer to check transactions. So the Launchpad has to go after that. And as far as the questions, only thing that came up was the NFT gateway. That's being pushed back to Q1. And they also gave thanks to us guys. And they said also debit cards are still on the table, but I want to make sure you guys, before you go, I just want to let you know what we're investing in here. And of course, none of this is financial advice, but this is just how I feel about it. And I'm just letting you guys know that I'm not getting paid by Steem Exchange. I'm just here to offer my opinion, period. So just so you guys know that it's that type of relationship. with us, and that's the way Steam Exchange wanted it. That's the way I wanted it. I'm offering my honest opinion. So just want to show you guys this. Exchanges tend to do very well in a bull run. Now I'm going to offer up KuCoin, and we're going to go here and we're going to look at what these guys did in the bull run. Now understand, if you could invest in KuCoin back here at 22 cents or something, right? That's essentially what we're doing. We're actually investing before that because we're kind of investing before they even have the exchange up, right? But you can see here, this was from the bull run before the last one, in which Bitcoin halved in 2016, and it took a little while and it went boom, boom, and like at the end of 2017, everything went boom, right? So imagine 22 cents all the way to $22. Now, I'm not saying that's what Steam Exchange is going to do, but just think about that. And then it comes down here and it settles after the bull run to 40 cents, and then it comes over here and it settles down to 85. And then next bull run, boom, $22, right? So you can see that it correlates with the Bitcoin halving, right? So let's show another one that was around for 2 bull run cycles. Now Voyager, we already know they're in trouble right now, right? And we won't even get into why and all of that type of stuff. We're just looking at this from a price perspective. And of course, guys, Steam Exchange, I don't think they can even talk anything about price. So really, you can ask them, but they're not going to answer you because they can't. They're not allowed to by the regulations. But I can talk that. So we're talking it a little bit. So you see here with Voyager, went from what looks like 5 cents, right? Screaming all the way to $9. Not saying that's what's going to happen, but I'm just showing you matching price, bull run price increasing, right? Then it settles down all the way to 7 to 4 to 3 to 2 cents, 1 cent, and then boom, up to $5, right? 12 cents to $5. Crazy, right? And then whatever it is right now, 40 cents, right? So crazy price potential looking at those. Now let's look at Gate.io, another exchange, right? So we're gonna get like 3 examples here. So these guys only made it through 1 bull run, but you can see here, 40 something cents to boom, the bull run all the way up to $3, and they're pretty much coasting at $3. So those are some examples, and that's what we're investing in right here, right? Just one more example here is Bitmart. They've only been through 1 bull run again, sitting here at like 1 cent, 3 cents, 2 cents, 1 cent, boom, 40 cents. And now chilling here at 9 cents. So that's what we got here when we're dealing with a Steam Exchange. Especially, it's going to be a regulated. It's going to have a centralized regulated exchange on it. So seems pretty interesting to me. And these guys have always been above board, giving us updates, answering questions. Full steam ahead for me, guys. Let me know what you guys think about this video, and also feel free to come over to my channel and check out some more videos, www.darkhorsewatcher.com. And please be aware, I've been doing more live streams lately. So if you guys are watching and you're looking on my channel and you're like, oh, there's only a couple videos, but just keep in mind that YouTube has, in its wisdom, and it is not wisdom, I would say, has separated the video tab from the live video tab. So if you look here on videos, which is where this is going to go, looks like I haven't done videos in a month or only 12 days. But then if you come over here to live, it paints a different picture here, in which I'm pretty much doing videos almost every other day here. So please be aware of that. Definitely come over here and check out my live videos. We got a whole metric ton of crap over here, like great stuff over here, like talking about the whole Sam Bankman-Fried deal, talking about the best sector in crypto right now, the best bargain sector, a live interview with the CEO of ArcBlock, like a live interview with him. This is traded on Coinbase. Managed to come on my channel. Shout out to My Comedy Network Crypto for setting that up. So you definitely want to check that out. Live interview with him. So yeah, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope that you check out some more of my videos. And yeah, have a good one, guys. Peace.